What's good, everybody? It's your boy Jamal Haki, and today we're actually back with another topic of the day discussion. And today we're actually going to be focused on this interesting particular topic. Now, I've always thought about this before, especially as I got older. Right, got more enlightened, got more what the people like to say woke, but we gonna talk about all that stuff, right? But pretty much the topic, as you see in the title of the video, me kind of breaking down from my perspective, right? From my perspective, pro-black, what pro-blackness is, what does it mean to be pro-black, and also trying to I guess break down this this myth or urban legend or this thing. Basically, can you be pro-black and date outside your race? And so those are the two main things we're going to try to tackle today. Again, this is all from my perspective, so you know, there really is no research I need to do. I am a very black man, as you see in this video right here. I'm black, right? So this is going to be all from my perspective, so because I'm trying to open up that conversation for people who are going to be watching this video. So let's start with pro-blackness. So what does it mean to be pro-black? Really, a good fundamental definition of someone who's pro-black is someone who supports, embodies, lives, just being black in terms of loving themselves and loving another person that's within our community, uplifting the community, spreading light, spreading wisdom, spreading advice, making sure that we're supporting black businesses so we can make sure we are rising up, advancing up economically, and also just anything that's dealing with uplifting, really. So you can uplift in any sort of ways, but really if you want to look at main things to uplift in, you can say uplift politically, uplift economically, uplift physically, really uplift each other in terms of our relationship with one another. And so that's kind of like a basic breakdown of what someone pro-black would be, right? And so if that's the case, based off what some people may think, and it's gonna be kind of weird because some people have different definitions of how they would explain pro-black, but to some people, to be pro-black, that means that, especially if you want to look in terms of a relationship, that means you can only date a black person, or not can, should. Let me fix that. That means you should only be dating another black person, a black queen, right? We look at our Nubian sisters, right, as queens. They are, all women are queens, man. Let me go ahead and fix that, right? But seriously though, our black sisters out there, they are queens. They really are. And so that means if I am a pro-black man, which I'm not answering that yet, if I'm a pro-black man, that means I should only be dating me a Nubian sister, right? And so that means I should only be focused on putting my money into black businesses and black dollar, right? Once you get that fundamental definition, I think when people take that definition of what being pro-black is, people become too narrow-minded. And so by them becoming narrow-minded, again, this is me, my perspective. I'm not saying this is what I know, right? I think people become very narrow-minded, and when they're narrow-minded, become very tunnel vision in their thinking. It leads to them having a narrow perspective of just that vague definition of pro-blackness. So if they already have a narrow perspective of pro-blackness, that means the only thing that's on their mind within the pro-blackness is black. That means instead of should, it's more so this is the only thing I am going to focus on, or the only thing I will focus on. And it's like, that becomes to the point where you're getting into this like isolation, right? Now that I introduced this word isolation, right, let me bring up my brother, Malcolm X. Let me bring up Malcolm X really quickly. I'm gonna bring up Martin Luther King in a second, a little bit, but mostly Malcolm X, because Malcolm X was a beautiful man, powerful. Some of the stuff that he was speaking on, it's a shame that he got killed. I'll really go back and listen to some of the stuff he was saying. Malcolm X is true. He was truly saying some things that really made sense. Because back then, you know, obviously he can be seen as a radical. Some of the stuff that he was saying Obviously the white people then, they was curious, but they was wondering why he was saying some of the things he was saying, stuff like that. Even the black people too. What stood out to me personally is, when he mentions when he brings up Martin Luther King, when Malcolm X was talking about Martin Luther King, how Martin Luther King, he wanted integration. He wanted us to be able to integrate with the white people back then, so we can, obviously mingle with one another, be able to have that relationship with one another. I'm not talking about romantically, I'm talking about in terms of just us as humans, us living, us embodying and inhabiting this same earth. But the thing with Malcolm X is, Malcolm X actually wanted separation, not permanently, but temporarily. And some people get lost in this word separation, right? And if you understand the meaning behind it, then you would actually agree. So reason why Malcolm X was actually preaching on the philosophy of separation is because Malcolm X seen it as we wasn't organized. Even till this day, us as a black community, we are not organized, right? And so he wanted us to be able to separate from all that is bad and the turmoil and troublesome and all the burdens. He wants us to separate from that, right? So we got to get right ourselves. We got to unify with one another. We got to get on the same page. We got to be on the same frequency. We got to be thinking the same. The law of all these things, like law of attraction, being in alignment with one another. Because if we're not in alignment with one another, and if we're not moving as a unit, then how can we expect for the advancement, or for anything to prosper, for anything to grow, for anything to blossom, for anything to manifest? None of that will happen if we're not on the same page with each other. So we must first separate and then organize ourselves, get to where we need to be. We're still gonna look, right? Still love all, justice for all, love for all, but we need to get a fine understanding of who we are as people. And the thing about that is, it still hurts us till this day. It still hurts our community till this day. My community, it still hurts us. It's painful to see when I see my brothers and sisters hating each other. That's sad. Please don't do that. But also, again, with my perspective of how I view pro-blackness, I view pro-blackness as really just uplifting each other, supporting each other. You got my back, I got yours. But it doesn't mean I'm going to forget everybody else. I'm not going to ignore everybody else. I'm not going to stop loving everybody else. But the focus, or part of the focus, is going to be on that community. But we got to all be on the same page with one another. See, first it should start with us having a unified definition of what being pro-black is. It first should start with that. It can't be, well, being pro-black is just me only sticking with, my fellow fair melanin skin brother and sister, right? No, it gotta be more so. I like the idea of pro-blackness being like a mentality, right? A mentality in terms of how you carry yourself. Same thing with Christians, to be Christ-like. If someone is Christian, it doesn't mean they only hang out with other Christians. It doesn't mean they're only talking with other Christians. It doesn't mean that, you know what I'm saying? If I am a Christian, if I am Christ-like, think like Jesus. Jesus out there trying to talk to people. He was out there trying to preach the word, out there trying to enlighten people to bring them to the other side, to get an understanding for why he do what he do. If that's the case, then shouldn't that same ideology, simple logic apply to being pro-black, right? Although I'm with my brothers and sisters, I'm trying to uplift ourselves, uplift our community, different things that we do in terms of being a strong support system, for them and for each other. Shouldn't that same ideology be spread? It almost should be a catalyst. This should be an example. This should be something that other people need to see. Honestly, people need to be seeing this, right? But it's hard to see it if we're fighting with each other, right? So I hope I answered this this whole thing about being pro-black. What's this definition of being pro-black, and why it's important for someone to be pro-black, but also understand that being too narrow-minded in this pro-blackness could lead to actually your own downfall, to our community's downfall, to other people looking at us as if we're doing something wrong. Because if we're not unified in this, then we're gonna fail. So based off my perspective, yes, I do think it is possible for someone to be pro-black and date outside their race. But I'm gonna play devil's advocate, and this is actually a devil's advocate point of view that I agree on, because you got people out there like Dr. Umar Johnson, and again, I'm familiar with the hidden colors. I got all of them, right? I got all my hidden colors. I have an understanding, and I get why, you know, someone could say you can't be pro-black and date outside your race, because that person outside your race, you know, their culture that they have, that they live in, even if it's not them themselves, they still live within that culture, that realm. I'm just naming, right? Really, predominantly when someone would say it like a white person based off of, you know, the history and stuff like that, right? But I'm just keeping it, right? Keeping it open outside your race. So anyone other than black, right? They won't understand fully about that black culture. They won't be able to fully get you like someone who lives within your own culture, someone who is you, someone who has the same skin as you. They won't fully get you. And to some degree, I get. But the thing is, I don't like that much, because we should already have this mindset of being able to teach people, to educate people, having that conversation. It all starts with talking. If someone has the ears to listen, then I should be able to properly explain to someone who I am as a person, what my culture is, what it represents, what my culture means to me, what I mean to my own culture, you know, what I should be living for, what being pro-black means. You know, I should be able to properly explain that to someone and them get it, especially if they're listening and care. And the same thing on the reverse end, is someone's trying to tell me about who they are, where they're from, their culture, their background. I understand human nature never changes, right? But also there's room for growth and room for potential. So that means we as people, we can grow. The man I was yesterday is not the man I am today. So that means there's always room for growth, that I can always rise above the climate, rise above any turmoil, rise above any adversities that may be presented. So someone having that ability to be able to date outside their race, that person should be able to do that, but only if that person is properly prepared to be able to really truly learn another person's culture. And if you do not care about another person's culture, please don't entertain them. Don't be, right? Again, since we're dealing with dating, right? I already covered the first up. This is the second part, right? Don't entertain them. Don't bother them. Especially if you do not have the heart, the stomach, the mind to open up that level of awareness, to be able to learn that information, learn what it means to be this, right? If you do not have the heart for that, the ears for that, don't do it. So I do think it's possible. I do think a person should or could be able to, date outside their race. And there's successful relationships and stuff like that works. But when stuff goes down, right? I guess people like, they have sides to pick, if a situation happened, like, let me use this example. If you have, person A, let's say person A is black, person B is white, right? They're in a relationship and they're sitting down and watching TV, and they see something on the news, and using a scenario, they see a white cop kill a black person, right? what is that conversation going to be like? Are you ready for that conversation? Right? If you're not ready to have certain conversations and stuff like that, you think you're going to be uncomfortable, it might not be it. But it's a part of learning. It's a part of growing. Just be open and be ready to hear these certain things, because there's things that us as people, we need to know. And that's pretty much it for the video, man. That's my perspective on it. Like I said, I broke down, to me, from my perspective, what it means to be pro-black. I broke down, from my perspective, if people who are pro-black are allowed to date outside their race, or should be allowed to date outside their race, of course. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're pro-black or not pro-black, bro. You can do whatever you want, especially if it's within like laws, regulations, morality, and stuff like that, man. You are free to do whatever you please. This is just my perspective. Who am I at the end of the day? That's it for the video, man. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Hit the bell to be notified. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you check out the affiliate links down below. And speaking of affiliate links, right, go to the herlullaby.com website, right? I have these books. I just recently published them. It's called Her Energy. It's dope. It's amazing. It literally embodies my mentality and some of the things I'm trying to preach out. And it's a lovely book. It's available on Amazon, ebook, you name it. Got it. Hit up the Discord. I'll talk to people on there. If you open to having a conversation with me, like leave some in the comment section, leave some in my email like other people do. More importantly, go to the Discord channel. And that's pretty much it for the video. This is your boy Jamal _Haki. Peace out.